Hello and welcome to Soul Steps. I'm David Gallagher. The first part of Soul Steps is this video. We call it the Soul Food. And following the video, our second step is called Soul Search, where we ask just a handful of hopefully heart and thought-provoking questions for you to consider as you assess the situation in your own soul. And the last step is called Soul Moves, where we try to offer some ideas for practical ways to put God's Word at work in your life. I needed to hire a grader to do some grading work around the house. And I needed dirt to be taken away from the perimeter of the house that had built up over many years. Water had started to pour in through the vents in the foundation, causing water damage underneath and joists and subflooring underneath to rot. And I got a referral to a guy who I thought sounded really good. And so I reached out to him and he said he would come the following week, and he did. We met, walked around the house, saw the scope of work, and agreed to hire him. His price was really reasonable. So we set a day the following week for him to come, and he never showed up. So I reached out and he said he'd come the following week. Well, he never showed up. This went on for almost 4 months. And I can't begin to tell you why, but I just really knew. I knew in my heart he was the right guy to do the work, and I was not going to give up on him. So about every 2 to 3 weeks, I would call him and touch base. And interestingly, every time I called, he answered the phone. So if he was trying to avoid me, he sure could have done some things to avoid me, but he didn't. At one point, 2 months into it, he told me he'd been sick and hospitalized. And I, of course, was sorry to hear that. But anyway, I persisted. And finally, he told me he was going to show up again the next week on this day at this time. So I waited. That day came, that time came, and he never showed up. Finally, almost 4 months into it, I was finished. I was ready to give up. So the next day, I get a call from him in the afternoon. And he says, "What time can you be here?" I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Yeah, I'm here. My guys are here. We're ready to go." I couldn't believe it. Well, he went ahead and did the work. It was fabulous. He went way beyond the call of duty. He moved a sewer line at no extra charge that had to be moved in order for the grading away from the house to happen successfully. He filled holes in the yard that were there, pretty deep ones, with the soil he was removing. It was a wonderful experience once he finally got there. I'm reminded of the story in Mark chapter 10, verses 46 to 52, where a man named Bartimaeus, who was blind, would sit by the road begging. And one day he heard Jesus was coming by. And when he found out Jesus of Nazareth was coming near, he started shouting, calling on Jesus to have mercy on him. Everyone around him told him to be quiet. Stop being so loud, but that did not deter him. He started shouting louder until Jesus couldn't help but notice. And he finally said, "Call that man over here." Well, they helped him, being blind, get to Jesus. And the closer he got to Jesus, it says he was still shouting louder and louder. Bartimaeus left the presence of the Lord that day, able to see. The Bible also says in Psalm 27, starting in verse 7 and continuing in verses 13 and 14, it says, "Hear, O Lord, my voice when I call. Be merciful and answer me. Still, I'm certain to see the goodness of the Lord. Wait patiently for the Lord. Be strong, be courageous, and wait patiently for the Lord." What do you need from the Lord today? What do you need in your life? Is there some spiritual grading that needs to be done? Maybe over years, stuff has built up in your life, and that stuff, if it remains, is going to continue to cause maybe some damage or continuing damage. And there's just some stuff that you need the Lord to deal with and take away. God can do that. Maybe you've got holes in your life, or maybe even worse, holes in your heart that you need God to fill. God can do that for you if you call out to Him and believe Him to do it and wait patiently for Him. He hears your cry. So the point in today's devotional, let your voice be heard. I chased that grader for almost 4 months, and he kept hearing my voice over and over and over again. Let your voice be heard. God will respond, and He will do what you need Him to do. Thank you for watching Soul Steps. Thank you for being part of this ministry. We need your support. If you'd like to give, please go to soulsteps.org, and it'll show you there ways that you can give. Thank you, and God bless you.